Casino Joe, that's a good point. Should you be shorting with RPM on? That's a good point. Here we go.
All right,
Now you're still a little jittery.
I am.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. Little or a lot? Like, do I sound like I'm underwater like Johnny did, or?
No, it's not as bad as we were hearing him, but it seemed when you were on the line with us, that's when we heard it. But
Mm.
that's all right. We've only got about 30 minutes left here, and the market will be.
Closing, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So everybody's saying both audios are good. This is a laptop, guys, that I'm broadcasting from, so it's a little. If there's anything weird going on, just tell me, and I'll adjust it or fix it. I'm tethered to a 4G phone. Usually not a bandwidth issue, but the whole time I've been here, it's been great. But I do not have the login for the pit noise. I do have the European news thing on. So if she says something, we should hear that. Hey, Docklins, how you doing? So we got FT71 on here with us from Vancar, of course, and everyone has been asking me, FT, to have you on more and asking questions about the platform and all that. And I know Johnny's just started to use it, and he could probably use some help and some tips with it and stuff. And but for the rest of the people out there that don't know anything at all, about Vancar and the platform and how you fit into the whole mix and everything, would you like to just, take a few minutes and just introduce yourself and tell everybody, what you can to start?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Real quick, I mean, basically, I come from a trading background. Traded for a while, for about 12 years. Always in a professional setting, and as I got exposure into what other people are doing and tried to help people out through my website, futurestrader71.com, it became apparent to me that I need, people needed more than just technical help. Like, how do I do this, that, the other thing? It was more about, risk management, what they were doing with their account, how were they funded, what equipment, charts, and so forth were they trading on? Did they have a stable trading platform? And so I decided to partner up with Vancar and start, being able to intervene or interact with clients on that level. And that's what Vancar is about. It's more of a boutique, specialized firm. We do futures, do them well. And we spend a lot of time trying to, as best as we can, trying to keep folks from kind of blowing themselves up in the futures market by taking on too much risk, and so on. So that's really what Vancar is. In addition to that, we have a client chat room where it's very focused. It's a lot like what DTR has. I know some clients have come to us from DTR, and I see them interacting in both rooms, so that works well. And that's really it. Commissions are competitive. We do have low margins and so forth, but we do that on a client by client basis. One of the key things though about this is the trading platform. I trade on it. I've used some of the most expensive trading platforms out there for professionals. Been using XTrader Pro for years and years and years. And once I got on this VK Trader, it just made no sense to me to pay $1,650 a month for a trading platform when I could have a free platform that has to date not gone down. Boy, crickets are going crazy right now.
Yes, they are. I just got my crickets turned on here. I hope that's not too loud for you guys out there. So we've got a pop in the market, 13.15 here.
Beautiful test of the '07 that I was talking about this morning, and straight up and through. Looks like we might get to 1775 here again. Huh, alerts are going off. So that's what this is, and recently, DayTraderRockStar decided to just use our demo, and he's in the process of opening an account. I think he's waiting for funding to hit. But I think what he's going to find is, although he doesn't have it configured the way it can be yet, because he's just been tinkering with it for a couple of days, he's going to find that it's a whole heck of a lot more stable, a lot faster, and consistent than what he's already using and what most of this room is accustomed to.
Yeah, FT, I can tell everybody out there that I had the Vanguard platform up and running for an entire week, and I never shut the thing off. The demo, and it never failed me. It just stayed up and kept working. No problems whatsoever. We get repping even higher here. Here's a 1316s right here. It looks like crickets are going crazy. What a rip! Wow, this is the opposite of usually what happens when I'm on the air. So what are you seeing here for potential upside target if you were to be long at this point?
This is squaring up on the closing. This is squaring up on the closing trade. This looks a lot like news to me, just looking at the delta. This is vertical. Hang on.
Yeah, what a candle there. Look at that thing.
Yeah, this is not normal. This isn't just squaring books at the end of the day. This is news-based. Huge volume coming through now.
Just keeping an eye on the markets, and we have seen a big tone in recent trade in terms of the US equity markets. Also seeing move high in terms of
Benzinga's been
Euro.
quiet, wondering if they have anything. Let's see, Benzinga.
So not seeing anything fundamental behind these latest news, but we'll have an ask around it and keep you updated.
Of course, she's watching DTR, so.
Do you want me to turn off my news feed so that we don't have an echo or something?
No, I think it's fine. I think it's good. Gas, do you really think he needs to do that? Because yeah, that was a pretty heavy pop there.
Yeah, the delta on that, the delta is basically the volume hitting the bid, the volume lifting the offer, which means buyers versus minus sellers on volume. We were at negative 32,000 on the day, and now we're negative 14,000. So right there, very quickly they picked up 18,000 contracts on this one bar, basically. It's pretty heavy. That's not just regular volume. That's just volume buying.
That's a pretty large 1 minute candle I'm seeing. It really is.
Well, we're approaching that 21 from this morning, right? I mean, I think one of the things I told. One of the things I was telling Johnny is that below 21, if we can't test and get into 21 today, then I'm looking at 08, 07. We got to 07, and now we're back at 21 again. It's trading. It's auctioning this pretty thoroughly now. I don't see this as bullish yet, though. It's having a hard time holding yesterday's range. Yesterday's range low is 17.25 in the S&Ps for the day session.
Gas is asking where you get your data from.
You mean my data feed is DTN IQ feed? It's great. It's great. If you need more information on that, just shoot Anthony a message, or client services. Just hit Vancar's site and hit the email icon or contact, and we'll grab you. We'll grab you the information.
So we have just had a ask around on these latest moves.
Scuba gear.
So they don't look to be driven by fundamentals in terms of what we have seen recently. However, we have seen comments from sources noting a Euro working group. He said that they are to propose leaders discuss the ESM creditor status, and also puts ESM, EFSF direct bank aid on leaders' agenda. We've also recently seen that Merkel has cancelled the EU summit press conference.
Are you able to turn up that
more driven
news
by
feed
the fact that we are heading into the month.
Yeah, I'm listening to it now. You can't hear it
tomorrow's
back
the final
Skype,
trading day for the quarter.
Oh, you are? Okay, so I just want to make sure
large
that
orders going through.
folks can hear it.
Yeah, I'm glad you can hear it too, because you know to listen, and we're doing the same thing as that happens. More crickets.
This is really it's really interesting way to close here.
Yes, it is.
Trying to find a spot. Still waiting for that 21.
About 20 minutes left.
That was a nice 8-point move up.
I'm showing a pivot around 2025 quarter. What is that from?
25 quarter, you said?
Yeah, right along in there. 20, maybe 25 half. Maybe the close of yesterday. Like.
Yeah, yesterday's close was 26 quarter, but that's I do have a level at 25 half for today.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm seeing. 25 half right there. Man, these crickets are brutal, man. They're going after it.
Oh, that was too quick. I tried to hit.
There's your 2175.
Yeah.
You trying to get a short in here?
Just real quick, a scalp. I don't like to fade the closing trade because they have a tendency to steamroll.
22s, 22 halves. So I'd like to get you on so we can demonstrate the platform even more. I'm thinking, definitely a time not during the market hours would be good for that. When would you be available to do that? Like a, kind of a platform spotlight type of thing.
I think we could probably schedule that one even with Anthony. He's very good at this thing. But I'm actually traveling over the next 2 weeks, but I'm online, and we can definitely figure out what to do there. I'd love to show it off. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time putting it together. In fact, we're trying to take Johnny's charts and stuff and incorporate them as a default into the platform, so you can actually select it and get, something that mimics what Johnny looks at.
Beautiful.
But we can probably do that at some point early next week to get everybody acclimated. Obviously, we want this done before. It would make sense to get it done before the Ultimate Trader Showdown. I'm going to scale here. So
how
about 2175 right now?
Nice, 2175.
So
that's too
we've had
short.
Further responses in regards to these latest moves higher that we've seen in terms of US equity markets.
Going to lay off risk as quickly as
So
I can because I am fading a closing
speculating
move.
that the delay or the cancellation of the press conference by Merkel is just raising a bit more speculation and chatter
We've hit
that there
a
may
key
be
level below, and now we're hitting a key level right
announcement,
here. It's
just raising some optimism back in the markets.
trading like
and separately
clockwork.
hearing other talk that Europe will use EFSM to begin to buy bonds.
There we go.
Again, these are unconfirmed. Just
working
chatter
20
doing around,
quarter.
just
I'm
leading to
queued
some
well there
optimism
for
back in the
a point and a
markets.
half there. I just got him.
Nice.
And again, as we head into the month and quarter close tomorrow.
Took a nice. I was running a webinar for clients today. Try to do that at least a couple times a week. Oh, I'm scaling 20 even. So my risk is off the table. The trade analyzer. Let me pull up that screen.
Oh, we got somebody recommended maybe we could do a show after the close. If you're available, even today. If it, I don't want to push you into staying after, but
Yeah, I would be happy to do today and next week, whatever. Definitely.
Okay. All right. So why don't we, after we get our close here at the end today, why don't we take like a 30-minute break? Maybe we could come back and do like that Vancar Spotlight thing.
Sure.
So there you go, people. You asked for it, you get it. So, and then they just stay after school. Sound good, everybody? Of course, I'm asking the chat room. Mel likes it, and yes, absolutely, we'll record it if you guys will make it available. I'll push it up to the
19
server.
quarters just filled. This is key here. 1875 is key right now. This is the first hour high. So
Oh, beautiful, man!
right
Look,
now,
here we go. Popcorn.
right now I just have a trailer going. So that trade right now did its job. It's pretty much done its job.
Just audio check out there. Can everybody hear me okay? Is everything pretty smooth with the feed and my voice? I know FT's is just a little bit garbled at times. Just want to make sure the broadcast at least is okay. Are you completely out, FT?
No, I have a trailer.
Oh, nice.
I have a runner on, but the threat here is 1875 holds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play it as I need to, but I'm always gonna try to let something run as far as it'll go. Like the way I see it is, if I can get 2.5 points on a trade, it's done its job and everything else is gravy. And if I have to, I'll take them back to scratch now. But I anticipate, since the distance 1875 till 2250 is only 4 points, it hasn't pulled back enough where I feel like the high is safe.
I'm thinking maybe a 50% move from the 1313 area to that 22, about halfway back, would probably get most of the people, out of that short.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's see what that is. Let me fit that real quick.
Stochastics are rolling over on both time frames. We were embedded on both for a while. There's some cricket, so here we go.
See that 1875 holding pretty good there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely volume picked up here at the end of the day. And then we're going back, maybe possibly retest that 1322. But you've got your profits locked in, right? You just have one.
Yeah, it's
one
done
run.
right now. Yeah, it's what I wanted out of the trade is good to go.
High tick alert. Thank you, Gas.
$21 holding. Retested 21 and it's holding. Let's see if it'll squeeze out some late longs.
And your short, even on this car, was up around 21.75, right?
Yeah, I'm short 21.75.
Okay. So you still have profit even on this car.
Yeah, this has got a couple of ticks in it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 16% of the whole position still open. All right, this.
Okay, you got out of the thing.
Yeah, I closed at 21.50.
There you go. You still even made profit on that one. Nice.
So yeah, the first hour is high and low, known as the initial balance. That's important. For me, people put up a high and low of the opening range, and that could be 5, 15 minutes, whatever. For me, the first hour is key, and that's what we just held. So this still has a chance at 25.75 or 25.50.
Dow's down 28 points here. Nasdaq's down also 28. S&P 500 cash down about 3.5. So we've gained back a lot of that move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're leaving a huge wick on the daily chart. If you look at the day only, it's got a nice wick underneath it, the candlestick.
Trade for pay, yes, sir. I'm here. I just saw your private message. I'm sorry about that. That was that was about 30 minutes ago. I miss all my screens.
That's what I'm going to be saying all next week. I miss my screens because I'm just going to have 2 screens.
I brought 3 laptops and I almost went to Best Buy and picked up a couple of 24 inchers. Wife talked me out of it because we're only here one more day. A couple other people talking about shorting again up here. We got about 12 minutes left.
We should have had a showdown while we're at it.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even think I have the platform installed on this laptop that I'm broadcasting from. I could have done it from the other one because I have it on the other one. I need to get me a mobile rig worked out a little bit better. I mean, it's amazing I can do this, tethered to the cell phone that's on my hip, with the availability of 4G service in a lot of areas. The other night I did a tech show and walked down to the ocean and never lost signal, and it was nice and solid the whole time, and I got faster connection with this thing than I have at home. So maybe I should just make a monitor system where I can fold everything up or something, put it on wheels and just wheel it in and unfold it, and have a desk and a chair that folds out, and come up with something crazy like that, because I do miss those screens.
Yeah, actually, after that demonstration yesterday with your Razer Max, I've spent probably an hour and a half trying to research Verizon, trying to figure out how to make that. I don't know how much data I would use, so I wasn't sure what to do with it.
Here we go higher.
Look out for 25.50 here.
Yep, I have a line coming into view there. Let me adjust my chart a little bit. You guys can see it. Right there. Yeah, I'm lucky. Like I said, I'm grandfathered into the unlimited plan, so I've done almost a terabyte this month through it, and absolutely no problems whatsoever. And I called them, and they said I was in the top 5% for usage of the month. I said, "Is that for the entire company?" And they said, "Yes."
Wow. Well, I tried to shortcut the process and get. I have one of the first guys I ever backed as a prop guy. He's been with Verizon for a long time, like you, and has unlimited. And I'm like, can you add me as family? Because I figure I'd go through a terabyte of.
That's a lot of data.
Well, and end up with like a $3,000 data bill or something.
That's a lot of data. I mean, I was pulling down backups from some servers and stuff. I mean, pulling them in at 31 megabits. 4 times as fast as I have at home, so I was taking advantage of it and just trying to break it, see if the phone would get really hot, and it will. But yeah, we did not make it to that 25 area. Pulling back again, and there's some popcorn there. Pop 29 says I'm behind him on the data usage. Verizon just announced though a share everything plan, and I'm not sure what the details are on the data and all that, but that could potentially save me a lot of money because I'm paying for an extra unlimited plan that my wife has, and you can actually roll a number over, not the actual number, but the actual plan over from one person to another person. Because I canceled one that I had on my Verizon card that I had in one of my laptops. It was also unlimited, and they asked me, did I know anyone that I would like to refer that to, or refer that truly unlimited package to. So I referred it to a very good friend of mine and got him out of the 5 gigabyte plan, and now he's back to unlimited and using 4G at home, which he's enjoying a lot. He's got an antenna on his roof. I don't have very good signal at home. So, hey, D. Gary, it's the Razr Max. It's the Motorola Razr Max. I've got ice cream sandwich on it. I upgraded it, did a little hacking on it, and I'm using it as a Wi-Fi hotspot. And hasn't failed me yet, as long as the coverage is in the area. So now we're back to your where you originally shorted, or just were there.
Yeah, I don't see a short up here yet. I think this still can continue to seek higher prices to motivate sellers. Again, the purpose, I don't want people to forget this. The purpose of the market is to trade up and up and up until it can motivate enough sellers to come in and sell it, and it'll trade lower and lower and lower until it motivates buyers. So if you think of it that way, you can kind of get a better feel for what it's trying to do, which is really important. So here it's like the question you have to ask is, has it gone high enough for enough sellers to come in? And given that it's lingering up here near the high, I don't think it has. The high, not for the high for the day session. The overnight high is 27.75. If enough, you'll know when enough sellers have stepped in, and it's a little bit safer to step in with the selling when it rejects, when a new high is made and it immediately rejects it. That's an unfair price. That's when folks will say, "Oh my God, this is really expensive up here. Let me jump on and sell it short, make some money." But if it makes a new high and it just sits sideways, that's called a weak high. But this morning's low at 08, that was a weak low. Why? Because it spent just a tremendous amount of time just sitting there sideways. If it was a good, strong low, the market would immediately move away from it because buyers will think, "Man, this is cheap. Let me get in here." And that's what auction market theory is based on, and market profile is based on, and all this stuff is based on. Just like the guys in the pit, what they see.
So from my point of view, from a layman's point of view, I would think that if we did push higher here, that natural target might be that pivot up there, that 25.5. Would that make sense?
Say that again?
If we were to push higher here, and it looks like we are, would that natural target be maybe that 25.5 area?
Yeah, for the way I look at things, the natural thing it would do is test the 25.50 area. Why? Because the gap is, the closing price was 26.25, 3 ticks above it, but at 25.50 or so, that represents the most traded price from yesterday. In other words, out of all of the prices that traded during the day session yesterday, 25.50 was the price that traded the most, and that's what's called the high volume price of the day, or the point of control. And what the market does is it moves away from the most traded price, the most fair price, to the next most fair price, and then it either sits there or it rejects it and comes back to the last most fair price. We probably ought to do a spotlight again and go over that, because I feel like I'm losing everybody, because it is a lot of detail, and that's why I made those webinars on my site to kind of explain how that works. But if you understand that basic premise, you're basically looking at what Ben is looking at in the pit all day, because that's how those guys trade. They don't walk around with a 4-monitor rig strapped to their waist and doing all this technical analysis. They're basically responding to order flow, and whether it's news or not, order flow tells you how much interest there is. When people start immediately raising their hands up in the air and the hands are facing the pit to sell, you'll hear that commotion on Traders Audio. Incidentally, we had I met with Ben yesterday. He just came up to our office yesterday. Great guy. If he sees that commotion, you'll hear that in his voice. And the reason everybody raises their hands at the same time and they start trading at the same time or wanting that price is because they feel that it's an unfair price. Nobody wants to trade where prices are fair, because you're just trading in the middle of chop, and it's just there's no edge, right? If, like I used in that trader spotlight, the example I used, if a jar of peanut butter is $3, are you going to rush? If it's normally $3, are you going to rush to the store and grab the last jar? No, it's always going to be at $3. But if it's selling for $1 on sale, then you're going to run to the store and you're going to pick up as many jars as you can. And that's how the market works. When the price is unfair or too low, you'll have volume coming in and pushing the market away from that price as quickly as possible. These are the basics. Again, I know I'm probably losing folks, but this is the basics of trading, of the market. And it applies to stock, Forex. If you're trading bonds, it doesn't matter. Trading crude oil, coffee, corn, it's the same exact process. Heck, it's the same process when you bought your house. If it was during the real estate bubble, the house gets advertised on Sunday, it has a contract by, Monday evening, because it's considered too cheap because everybody's anticipating higher prices. So that's how this works. And my job is to figure out how are they taking these prices in? Are they accepting these prices, or are they considering this price too cheap or too expensive? What have they done in the past? Have they accepted this price in the past, or is it too cheap, too expensive? And I'll trade only in the areas where I can see that it's going to inspire other people to trade. Because once I get in, I need everybody else to kind of want to do the same thing for me to make money, like the 2175. Same process.
We got about 5 seconds left here to go. It looks like.
Wow.
Yep.
Just talk right through that.
Johnny posting a trade there, trade alert in the box, ramming the bush, all that good stuff. And I don't have any closing music, guys. Sorry about that. Ding, 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 ding. That's right, Learjet. Yeah, and FT71 wasn't referring to you, Learjet, when you got suckered into your house right at the very top. Poor guy.
Ouch.
Poor guy.
Ouch,
But he clipped the top right off of that thing.
That's painful.
A lot of people have done that. My parents are kind of in the same. So very interesting that volume profile. I mean, when there's a lot of volume at a certain price level, that means a lot of trades are changing hands at that point. Does that usually mean there's going to be some consolidation or more?
Yeah, that's what you see normally as a triangle or a wedge formation. It's compression. Like prices can only stay at one zone for a while, and if that zone starts to build up a lot of volume, then more and more people are going to be wrong once it breaks out to the upside or the downside, right? There are more and more stops that are going to be just below and just above that zone. So I don't trade in those areas. I don't like to trade when there's just a crap load of volume. Like today, the biggest volume of the day was between 13, between 14 and the low. And there's just, if you look at a profile, it'll show that it's really fat. It looks like a lowercase b shaped kind of a profile. And so there's a lot of volume that took place. So any break out of there is going to give us what we saw, and it's going to just cascade a bunch of stops through there, So I don't want to be in that mess. I want to either take the break or wait and fade it at the next unfair price.
Right. So would you say that there's a gravitation towards that area where that volume at price, because
yes,
gravitation towards that, it could be on the downside, it could be on the upside, you could be somewhere in between. But I think it's interesting how there's a high volume at that price being traded, so a lot of people feel that that's a fair price, but at the same time there has to be just as many sellers as there are buyers for the volume to stay high at that exact level.
Yes.
So
yes.
You've got people that would completely differing opinions. Somebody's selling up there and somebody's saying, I need this right here at this level. And that's interesting.
Just remember, it's not day traders that control most of the volume, and it's folks that need to put on positions and take off positions. The market gravitates towards size. Like if you've ever looked at a DOM long enough, it look like there's a whole bunch of size like on the offer, like sellers, that just stacked like 3,000-4,000 at every level, say in the S&Ps. And most people look at that and say, wow, this looks really heavy. It's going to be really tough to get through that size. If you study that, more often than not, the market goes to that size. Why does it do that? Because that's the most efficient. Those prices are the most efficient prices to get your fill. Think of a fund coming in and needing to buy 200,000 contracts in the S&P. They want to see that volume there because then it reduces their slippage, right? Mm-hmm. So the market tends to gravitate to where the size is or where the most volume is. And the market, because the market's job is to facilitate trading, is to get as many people to trade at a price that they perceive to be fair as much as possible. The market does not like to stay or linger in areas where price is unfair. I mean, like I said, with the peanut butter, it doesn't take long for price to come back to $3. But if it's at $5, not many people, only people who are desperate are going to pay up that much. Yeah. Eventually, what's going to happen is it balances out, and where does it end up? At $3, right? It's going to gravitate towards that price that everybody thinks is fair, and that's what's called the point of control, or the highest volume price.
And that point where everyone thinks it's fair is constantly changing based on news, based on patterns, based on
yeah, exactly. Like, are you going to go out and buy that Hummer when gas is at $5.50 a gallon? Would you be more inclined to buy it if gas gets down to $2 a gallon? The price of gas is going to affect that decision, the price of financing. So all of that stuff is constantly changing, and as it constantly change, the demand and supply, or the value for that product, changes. And so this point of control just moves all over the place, and you need to kind of know where it is. And on the VK Trader, built into the charts, we have the profile set to the right. I think Johnny showed it at some point today. You could see what that looks like. You have it right on the DOM, actually. You can turn it on and look at it on the DOM for the day, or you have it as part of the charts as well. It doesn't go back historically, but at least it shows you for today where the heaviest prices were for the day.
Mm-hmm. I got an email here from Jordan. I remember Jordan's just saying that, thanking you for your wisdom and coming on and giving us this free lesson and your wisdom and insight and everything in the markets. And
I appreciate that.
A lot of good
the New
comments.
York Fed say that forex swaps with foreign central banks total $11.5 billion in the latest
wave
week.
a magic wand and make it so that people get what they want out of their trading, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I really want to see everybody do as well as they could. It's not possible, of course, and there's significant risk to trading futures, but I try to do what I can.
Gas asking there in the chat room, can you lend any experience or any knowledge that you have specifically to that period of time that we're in right now between that 4 o'clock Eastern to 4:15?
The cash is closed, so generally I don't like to trade during this time period, and most of the time the market does not make a move, although lately we have to move in one direction, and then at 4 o'clock when the cash market or the equity market closes, Wall Street closes,
and the New York Fed total
it
dollar
tends
swap
to
facility
reverse
borrowings
that
increased
move
to
real quick. But the trades that occur
billion.
in futures between why is the futures market open
The
from
New York
3
Fed
to
just saying that ECB
3:15?
is the
It's because the futures market traditionally and mainly was used as a hedge. It's giving 15 minutes of time as a chance to put on that hedge before the market goes into the overnight session. I don't like to trade during that time. The book tends to be really thick, or the DOM tends to be pretty thick and erratic. There's really no edge to trading during that time, I think. I suggest that folks just stay away from there. In other words, I would hold a position into the 4:15 hour if I'm already in and I've got profits locked in, but I would not initiate after the 4 o'clock hour has struck. It just doesn't make any sense. You could easily get caught in a fund getting out of something, getting into something, a stop run. It's just not logical trading at that point.
I found myself really wrapped up in some ES trades, back when I first started, and that 4:15 would creep up on you.
Yeah, and then you have to sit until 4:30 when it starts up again, and then it goes dead from 5 till 6, and I don't know, it's a long day, trading, sitting there focusing all day long. Like the other day I was telling you, I admire what Johnny does, because I don't know how he can sit there all day analyzing stocks and talking about them all day long. That's pretty intense stuff, because it takes a lot of focus to do this, to process so much information all the time. So it's a long day already, and holding something into the close when you're normally a day session type trader, and then having to babysit it into the after hours, it's not my cup of tea. A lot of people do it, but I don't see the edge.
And he covers the market as a whole at the same time, and all the news and everything. It's the only thing I can say is that it's not easy, and I don't even do. My market coverage is about 1% of what he does in his shows, and but the only thing I can figure is just he's been doing it for so long. He's a master at it. He's a master at every element, and he blends it all together in a nice recipe, and we're very lucky to have him.
Yeah, I agree. Not trying to kiss up to him or anything, but I know just getting on with you for an hour or whatever into the close it just seems pretty intense to me. I'm just not used to it, but it's fun. But to do what he does, he looks at stocks that folks want to look at. He's able to pull up a chart and kind of quickly draw a bunch of lines and kind of make make a decision, executive decision on the stock right there, and that's what people rely on him for. That's got to be hard. I'm sure it takes a lot of time to kind of get used to doing that.
I have probably the biggest thing that I have learned from him is patience. And it's so hard to sit on your hands when you want to be in a trade so badly, and if the market's just not right for it and that stock's just not right for it yet, you have that hunger that you want to trade, you want to be in something, and you have that tendency to overtrade. And I think that's probably one of the most beneficial aspects of watching him trade on a day-to-day basis, throughout the years, that patience that he puts forward, and you can see it and watch it happen, and the tendency is to try to make something happen out of something else and kind of, not pay attention to how he's being patient, and but over time you learn that the patience is the hardest thing to learn, that discipline and everything. And I mean, I have applied that same patience and discipline that I have, picked up bits and pieces of that trait from him, and I've applied it to different parts of my life that aren't even, trading, and but in the trading world, I think that is super important. And that's one thing that if people can get that little bit of that, learn that patience from Johnny and the way he trades, and you can pick that up from him by watching him on a day-to-day basis. I think that's your biggest asset. Your biggest asset to learning from Day Trading Radio and Johnny, I think.
Yeah, that is the hard part. I mean, the disciplined trader, right? That's the bottom line. How disciplined are you? That's a key element in this puzzle. Most unfortunately, having been exposed to all kinds of online traders, and then now with the brokerage and trying to help traders one-on-one and so forth where I can, I see that the biggest problem with trading is the commitment. A lot of times I think the people who have a lot of trouble are really not that committed to it. And part of the commitment is you will do what you said you would. If you're spending 2 hours doing homework and then you come in and your first trade is like in the middle of nowhere, has nothing to do with your home. I mean, you're not committed, right? In order to have the discipline and the patience, you first have to commit to the fact that you will do what you need to. And what's interesting is I saw this with prop guys, like my prop guys, same thing. Myself, same thing. I mean, I whittled my savings down to, like, I've said this story before, it's probably getting old, but I had $8,000 to my name, I think, when I made the turn in trading. And it's because I just spent a lot of time kind of just doing whatever and not having a plan and not being disciplined. And I had just had a newborn daughter, my first kid, and living in a studio and in Chicago and so forth. And I had to, all of a sudden you don't make that commitment. You don't get the discipline. You don't get the patience until it becomes a survival instinct, until you really have to. And I've seen it not just with myself, but a lot of my traders where they run their account so far where I have to start saying, hey, look, be prepared to kind of be let go because you're reaching your limits. And that's when I see that they're ready to make the turn. I had this tennis player I backed. He was a seeded tennis player, great, amazing athlete and competitor. And he would just get in there and just bang away, hold losers forever and so forth. And it got to the point where I was like, dude, I can't run a business this way. I can't take the risk on you. Consider this final notice. And next thing you know, he just came back in and he was following, we were going through his plan every day, and the market's closed.
Yes, it is.
And he finally got it together. It's like people wait until the last minute to actually do what they need to do, and that's just human nature, But it boils down to commitment. If you're committed, none of that stuff matters.
Would you say, and I know we need to take a break here and probably come back and do this little spotlight, but would you say that commitment also can boil all the way down to each individual trade as well? That people just aren't committed to a particular trade they're in. I know commitment as a whole for the entire trading plan and just sticking with it, but commitment even on the particular trade, right down to each trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying, that's synonymous. Like not being committed to the trade is synonymous with, I'm committed to losing, 20 pounds this year because it's affecting my health and I may become diabetic, right? And then the next thing you know is you stop at the local ice cream parlor and get yourself, a triple scoop and just eat it, and still look at your whatever, somebody you care about, and say, yeah, I'm committed to losing weight. You're not committed unless you're doing it 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a commitment. So the one trade that you're talking about is just one brick in the wall that makes up your commitment. And again, I always tell folks, trading is not calling, yeah, I think, like coming in this morning and saying, yes, 21 is key. Anything below 21, I'm bearish. I'm looking for 08, 07. And trying to just hit the ball out of the park. I'm going to sell the top and buy the bottom. That's not trading. That's showmanship, and that the trading is just grinding it out like one trade at a time. And every trade, as long as risk is under control, I just don't believe in anything more than this. And what I'm about to say? Every trade has no significance over the overall performance. You cannot live and die by one trade. Your performance as a trader, your consistency is made up of a huge sample of trades. And in order to get a huge sample of trades, you have to cut your losses quick, let the winners go, and just build that repertoire, build that roster of good trades. And so, in order to do that, you have to be committed to the very next trade. You have to be committed to the next trade, to the next trade, to the next trade. The next thing you know, you've got a couple thousand trades, and your edge should have showed up at some point. If you had the probability to win overall, it should have showed up in the process. And that's what trading is. It's just base hit after base hit after base hit. It's not about pointing to the stands, squaring up your shoulders and swinging the bat as hard as you can. And that's what I see a lot of people doing. I've committed the max size I can put on, and I'm going to hold it through a 20-point drawdown, and I hope I get to scratch it. You can't do it that way. But you said I'm kind of talking too much, and maybe you said you wanted to take a break.
No, you're not talking too much, man. You're. I love having you on. I mean, you're the best thing that happened to Day Trading Radio this year, man, in a long time for that matter. But I was thinking when we do the spotlight thing, we're going to go over the platform specifically to Vancar and all. How do you want to do that? Do you want to do like do you want to take like control over my system here, or would you like for me to like peer in on a team viewer session of your computer maybe?
That's I was thinking it would probably be best for the viewers if you just put up your VK Trader, and I can team viewer in and just watch you. And if I need to, I can just grab the mouse and say, no, it's right here, and show all the different features so that it's everything is running on your end. You have great bandwidth. That should make it simple.
Okay.
If you're the tech guy, if you feel like you want to team viewer into me, that's fine. But I think team viewer into you and kind of showing everybody what's going on your end, because your platform is much simpler. It's set up in a more default, so to speak, way than mine, and I'd have to undo a lot of stuff.
Right.
To show what it looked like and where it's going to end up looking like when we're done.
Right. What I'll do is I'll rearrange the entire desktop so it's just completely clean and it's just the platform, and we'll kind of do it that way, and I'll give you TeamViewer access to this system. I do need to install the latest version of the VK Trader.
Yeah, you should be on version 0.47.
Okay. So for everybody out there that's listening, we're going to come back. What do you say? Is 5 o'clock too late, or do
you call it?
How about from 5 to 6?
I have to be out by like 6:30, but 5 to 6 will work for me.
All right. Well, let's do that then, and I'll go ahead and get set up on the side, and we'll talk to you at 5 p.m.
Very good. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to that, and thanks for watching today. I'm going to go ahead and close this down so I can get these things set up and everything. We're going to have a special spotlight with FT71 and the VK trading platform, everything about Vancar that we can get out of him in an hour. Is RIM tanking there? KJ Trader mentioning RIM here. Let's see, where is RIM? You know what? I may have gotten rid of that thing on the chart. No, here it is.
apologies to non-equity listeners there for that interruption. We did just see Research in Motion reports, but it's in regards to that press conference. It looks like it will be ongoing in Brussels, despite the fact that the German spokesman did say that Merkel had cancelled it.
Okay. So it's halted. Hey, Trade for Pay. I'm sorry I missed your private messages earlier. I ran to Lowe's. I got kind of chased out of the beach place here and chased from one room to another kind of thing. When Johnny had asked me to come on earlier today at lunch, and I was trying to find a place to go with the laptop and the Skype. I went to the car, and then I was outside, and then some Coast Guard helicopters were overhead, and it was so loud I couldn't even hear myself think. And I'm running around outside. I went and got in the car, and it was baking in there. I put down the windows, and then that defeated the purpose. So it was kind of weird. So then I got back inside, and then that was about the time my family wanted to, do their thing, clean up the place and do dishes and cook something to eat and all that. So I kind of attacked the back bedroom here. So I'm in the back bedroom now, and but I had to run to this Lowe's out here on the Outer Banks. They built a brand new Lowe's. It's amazing, right across the street, not too far from here at all. So I went over there and got a little folding table, which is really nice. And so I've got my laptop set up on this and everything. So I'm a lot better shape now, and I've got a little quiet in here, probably even quieter than I have at home. So a little bit more comfortable than sitting at the kitchen table. So what I'm going to do here is, and I'm just apologizing to Trade for Pay because I missed his private message. I think I was across the street at Lowe's getting that table. Hey, Big E, asking, can you access the show you're doing today and tonight on live stream through my iPhone? Yes, Big E, there is a channel. If you try to pull up mobile.daytradingradio.com in your browser on your iPhone, I believe it will convert over to HTML5 and you'll get the stream on your iPhone if you have available bandwidth to do it. But that's perfect lead into, I wanted to mention our buddy Chris Hall. He's a programmer. He is now writing an Objective-C, and he is in the process of completing our very first day trading radio app, and that'll be available for everyone. It's got some pretty cool features on it. One touch, you get your stream, you get the video. It's got some of the blog updates, on it. And some of the basic, features, and also has all of Johnny's YouTube videos, as well as the trader spotlights and stuff that were put up on YouTube. There's a list of all those. You can watch them right from that app, and that's going to be available not too long. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but let me go ahead and shut down here, guys, and thank everyone for being members and listeners today. What a crazy market. A lot of crazy news came out, of course, and we got through it. Again, thanks to FT71 for helping me cover at the end here. And we'll be back at 5, and we're going to do a little show and get a lot more great information from FT71. So we'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thanks a lot.